Hello, you guys. So, for starting my new channel, I just want to talk to you about how I lost my sister. So, I might be very emotional during this video, so excuse me, because that is not the best experience I ever had. And for people who know how blood cancer is, they're going to understand very much of that. Also, excuse my English. I do not speak English every day. It's not my mother language. I originally live in Greece, so yeah, I speak I speak I speak Greek most of the time. So excuse my English, please. So, and if you hear any Facebook sounds, this is going to be my Facebook page, which is open right now. Okay, so this is the video of how did I lost my sister. Me and my sister were not so close, I have to say. Her name was Dimitra and my name is Eva. So me and my sister were not so close, and we had 3 years difference. Not three, excuse me, 4 years, 4 to 5. It wasn't exactly, and that means that when I was 3, she was 7. So yeah, that is, excuse me, that is 4 years difference of age. So when I was 3, she was 7, and then it was when we started, going to daycare, and I started going to daycare. She was still in daycare because she hadn't been in an elementary school. We had some difficulties. She couldn't speak so well. So I remember then one day, well, our relationship started to change. We were always fighting, I remember, until I was 3 and I started daycare. Until one day we went together to the daycare, and because the daycare was like next door, my mom just went out from the balcony to see where if we were going to the daycare. She wouldn't take us. Yeah, excuse my dog. So, and I remember that one day she said, "I love you, and you're the best sister ever." And you are going to say, "No, how do you remember these things?" Well, basically, I have a very good memory, and I will never forget about her. So, in the relationship, our relationship started to grow. Once we went on the first year in the elementary school, on the first grade, yeah, the Facebook sound. When she went in the first grade, I was 4 and she was 8, because, as I said, we had some problems with her. And this is when the things are starting to go down. So, one of her friend, I'm not going to tell her name now. Let's call her Mary. She had a party and she went. I remember that I was jealous that she went to party and I didn't, because I also knew Mary's sister. Not, I'm not also going to say her name. I also knew her and I really wanted to go. However, Dimitra, my sister, didn't let me to go. And I remember that my mom was in work. It was like still 8:30 and my mom was in work. And my dad was not home also. I don't know where he was. And I remember a phone call. We were not living in Athens, because now I live in Athens. We were living in Santorini, in Thera. And there was a phone call. I was home alone, so I picked up the phone. It was not my mom's or my dad's mobile phone. It was our home phone, let's say, because yeah, it's a little different. So I picked up the phone, and it was Mary's mom, and she was really upset. I remember her being really, really upset. And I was like, "Hey, I don't remember her name, guys. Let's call her Lena, not Helen now. Hey, Mrs. Lena, what's going on?" I said, and she was like, can you please give me your mom? I really need her." And I was like, "She's not here. What's going on? Please call her and tell her that she needs to call me immediately." So I called my mom and I said her that, "Hey, mom, Mrs. Lena told me that." And my mom was like, "Okay, I'm going to call and then I'm going to call you back." Because I said here that I want to know what happened. What is happening? So My mom did call Miss Helen, and my mom did not call me. She said that I'm gonna call you, but she didn't. Guys, it's the story is starting from the best to the worst. That's why I might get real emotional in the end, I have to say. So she said that, yeah, my mom didn't call me, and after a couple of hours, my dad came. He was upset also. And he said, "Are you fine?" And I said, "Yes, I am." He took me. He said to me that take all your stuff. You need to go to grandma. I cannot let you here all alone. And I grabbed some of my stuff and I went to my grandma's house. And without any clue what's going on. So a couple of hours the next morning, because I was having a night, as I said, the next morning, my mom came and I was like, "What happened, mom?" And she said, "Well, your sister was not fine. She passed out. She lost. Yes, she passed out. She went. She laid down immediately, and they went to the hospital, but she's fine." From a point, I didn't really care because I was little. I was still little, so I was like, "Okay, she's fine now." However, I asked my mom, "Mom, where when is he coming home?" And my mom said, "We're not sure. I know that she just passed out. However, she's going to stay inside for a long time." And I was like, "Why?" And she said, "For hospital reasons, for her own health." And then I remember my mom saying, "Can you please go out? I need to talk to grandma." So I went out and I went up to my room. Yeah, my grandma has also room for me because I was sleeping there sometimes. And I remember that after a couple of minutes, I heard my mom crying, and I also heard my dad coming. And and then I heard my grandma screaming, and I went down, and my mom saw me that I was there and I was listening. Not listening. I see that something was going on. So I said, "Please tell me what she has." And she was like, "Well," my dad looked at me and looked at my mom, and my mom said to my dad to tell, asked my dad to tell me, so he could tell me. And my dad told me that my sister was really ill. After a couple of years, I learned what was going on with her. However, my sister was pretty ill, and she was not coming home soon. I was sad because I remember that then I went back to my home and my sister was not there. Her voice, oh, and I remember that she came 1 week after all that happened. I was coming from preschool, not preschool, daycare. I was coming from daycare and I saw her sleeping. Yeah, this is a moment of my life that I will never forget, guys. I went up to my room, and my room with her room was like opposite. Here was her room, here was my room, and her door was open, and she was sleeping, and I wanted to go and see what was going on. I really wanted to know. I went up and started pushing her to wake up, and then my mom came and she started screaming. She was like, "Go out now. She doesn't need you. She's ill. You're going to kill her." So yeah, she's not. I don't want to describe you any more of this because it's not a happy experience for me. I'm gonna pass the limits, not pass the limit. Excuse me, pass a little bit of time. So that happened on October 24th. All that, and my sister was fighting cancer until 20. 4th of September 2008. She passed out. No, in 2000, yeah, in 2008 she passed out, and she got ill on 23rd on 4th, I don't remember, of October 2007. So the day that she passed out, that she died, I remember that they let me go and see her in the hospital, and my mom was like, my mom was like, you don't need to see her, because I constantly asked to see my sister. You don't need to see her. And I was like, I need to see her. And I went, and her eyes were closed. I didn't know if she was sleeping or if she was dead. However, for my age, I did realize some stuff. I did realize that something was really wrong and that she was going to die. However, I saw her, and I remember that I said, I love you. I said that I love her, and I will never forget about her, because she was my sister, and she was the only part of me. She was a half of me. Okay. Well, I sat with her for a couple of minutes, and my dad took me. I went to my grandma's, and my dad went back to the hospital. And after a couple of hours, they came back, and they said to my grandma that it was over. My grandma started screaming and shouting. She didn't want her to go. She was just a 7-year-old, 8-year-old. She was just a 7 to 8-year-old child who didn't need to go through that from blood cancer. Because she was diagnosed with blood cancer. From that time, me, my dad, my mom, and my grandma went, and we moved from Santorini to Athens, and we started life again. My mom burned all her things. She didn't want to remember about her. She didn't want to remember that one of her daughters was gone. And if my sister was alive now, the only thing that I really want to say is that I love her so much, and I'm sad that she's not here with me. That she's not here so I can tell her what's going on. So I can have somewhere to stand on, so I can say that my sister is perfect with all her disadvantages, with all the bad things she has in her character. And if she was here, and I will totally not say anything bad for her. And if she's watching me right now, because my mom, if we talk about her, she listens you, she sees you, she knows that you're an excellent, you will be an excellent sister. And if she hears me right now, I want to say that I love her, that I will never forget about her, and that she's the best sister I could ever have, even if it was for 4 years. Even if I just saw her for 4 years as like a sister, not as a dead person. So I said that I was going to be really emotional on that. And please don't write any bad things in the comments, because I will not be happy. Yeah. It will be bad for me knowing that I shared my story with you and you check it down. Well, after my sister's death, okay, I can say that I'm not good. Even if there are 10 years past, I'm not good. I cut myself from my sister. I feel so different without her. And I think that if she was here, the things were better. The things was the things that they had been better. If she was here, everything was going to be right. However, she's not here, and that's the point. So, guys, thank you for listening to my story, and I will continue my channel with more happy, I think, videos because I don't want to continue with sad stories. Love you guys.